Hi everyone! Welcome to Souped Up Recipes. Today we're making a Hunan style dish, Mi Fen Zheng Rou, which means steamed pork with rice powder. It's not a well-known recipe because it's complicated to make and it's very tricky to make it right. My grandmom makes the best Mi Fen Zheng Rou. I always ask her to make it when I visit her. Now I finally got the recipe. Let's get started. First, let's make the rice powder. This is the time-consuming process. You will need 1 cup plus 1/3 of a cup of jasmine rice and 1/3 of a cup of glutinous rice. Jasmine rice is long grain, a little bit translucent. Make sure you use a good brand that has a strong rice fragrance. The glutinous rice that I use is short grain. Long grain will also work if you have it. Glutinous rice provides the sticky and gooey texture, which makes the rice powder binds together well. If you only use one type of rice, the rice layer won't attach to the meat very well. They will fall off. I like to use a heavy-duty cast iron skillet because it heats the food evenly. Toast the rice on low heat. This process will take about 20 to 30 minutes. You need to be patient and keep stirring it so the rice doesn't get burned. As I mentioned before, this is my grandmom's recipe. She used to make a few pounds of this rice powder to give to her kids because she gets upset when we use the store-bought pre-made rice powder. Once the rice is nice and golden, let it cool down completely. Check the color. It's such a big difference. And you should be able to smell the roasted rice fragrance. By the way, you want to give the rice a brief check, just to make sure there is no burned black rice since they do affect the taste. Put all the rice in a blender. Use the on and off feature. You want to grind it fine, but not too fine, like that. It still got some rough texture. Let it go through a sieve, just to get rid of some stubborn pieces. You can reuse those, but my blender doesn't work well with this tiny amount, so I usually just discard it. Set the rice powder aside. Now we're gonna make a spice blend. You will need 1/2 tablespoon of Sichuan peppercorn, 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper, 1/4 teaspoon of white pepper, a small piece of cinnamon, break it apart so you can toast them better, 1/2 of a star anise, break it apart as well, 1/2 of a black cardamom, few pieces of dried hot chilies. Toast them on low heat for a few minutes or until the chili turns into a dark red color, but don't burn them. You should be able to smell all the nice aroma. I like to make my own spice blend because freshly toasted and grind is always the best. Let it go through a sieve to get rid of the chili seeds. You're gonna add 5 teaspoons of this fine spice mix to the rice powder. The amount that I gave should be just about 5 teaspoons, but I always measure it to make sure I have the right amount. After that, we're gonna season it with 1/2 tablespoon of salt and 1 teaspoon of sugar. Mix everything until well combined. Then you have your rice powder made. This is enough to coat 4 to 5 pounds of meat. I'm only making 2 servings today, about 1 pound of pork, so we only need 1/2 cup of that rice powder. The rest of it, you can save it in a jar and you can use it whenever you want to make Mi Fen Zheng Rou again. It will last you about 3 months at room temperature. Once you have the rice powder in hand, the rest of the steps are easy. Slice 1 pound of pork into bite size. You can use any cuts you like. My grandmom will use a piece of pork belly because she loves the fatty mouthfeel, but I don't. So I'm actually using pork shoulder. It is rich in flavor and has a fair amount of fat. It's my favorite cut for making Mi Fen Zheng Rou. You can use other type of meat such as chicken, beef, but you will have to manage the cooking time to make sure the meat is tender. Marinate it with 3 cloves of garlic, half teaspoon of grated ginger, 1 tablespoon of soy sauce. Sorry that my camera missed the shot, but that is 1 tablespoon of soy sauce there. Keep adding 1 tablespoon of Chinese cooking wine. Shaoxing wine is one type of cooking wine, so it will also work. Half teaspoon of salt or to taste. Last, 1 piece of Chinese fermented bean curd. This is my grandmom's secret ingredient. It adds some undescribable fermented taste to the dish. This is how the package looks. I couldn't find the exact same brand on Amazon, but I will link to a similar product that you can buy for making this recipe. Smash the bean curd into a paste first, then mix everything until well combined. Cover it and let it sit for 20 minutes. While waiting, please allow me to introduce you the lotus leaf. This is how the real plant looks. I love the flowers. They're so beautiful. The root is my favorite vegetable. You can make stir fry with it or put it in soup. The seeds are also edible. We make dessert with it. The leaves are what we are using today. It has a unique fragrance which makes the food smell so much better. But we don't need a whole piece. Use a scissor to cut the size that fits your steamer. It is really dry and stiff now. Soak it in some hot water for a few minutes and it will be pliable. Get your steamer, place your lotus leaf on, adjust it so it fits better. This is only for the fragrance. It won't affect the taste that much. If you cannot find it or it is too expensive to buy, you can use parchment paper, not a big problem. One important step is to poke some holes so the steam can go through and the food cooks evenly. I'm just filling the gaps between each bamboo stick so I can poke the holes easily. If you use parchment paper, you also need to do this step. Now it is the time to coat the meat. Make sure all the sides are covered nicely and shake off the excess rice powder. Place it into the steamer, cover it, and put this above some cold water. Turn the heat to high and bring the water to a boil. Then turn the heat to low, steam it for 1.5 hours. Time to check it out. Open it up. Nice and hot. All the rice fragrance mixed with the spices and lotus leaf scents smells so good. Decorate it with some diced scallion and some red hot chilies. That looks beautiful. The meat is chopstick tender, which means you can just break it apart with a pair of chopsticks. Look at that. Don't tell me that you are not drooling. The inside of the meat is pink. That means it is seasoned correctly. Looks so good. Let's try it. It's so soft that it just melts in your mouth immediately. The flavor of the spices are well mixed, very gentle and tangy at the same time. What's incredible about this dish is that it tastes better when you let it sit in the fridge overnight. I didn't believe that when I was a kid. I thought it was an excuse that my grandmom made so we don't eat it all in one day. But it is always gone the first day anyway. This one is the batch that I made yesterday. Let's taste it. It does taste better. The flavor is much deeper. somehow it developed a kind of smoked ham flavor. My grandmom always said that thyme is the key ingredient in this recipe. I don't know what it did to that pork overnight, but it's another level of deliciousness. I hope you give this a try soon. If you did, leave me a comment, let me know how it goes. As always, the recipe is in the description down below the video. You can go check that out. Don't forget to take a look at my channel. I'm sure you'll find out how to cook your favorite Chinese food. New videos come out every Wednesday, and I'll see you next time. Bye!